Hey everyone, how we doing? Welcome back to a George MF show. My name is George. I am your host today. You guys, we got a couple things that we got to discuss. Still some continuing trends and conversations from the beginning of the week. And also some big stuff about the NFL draft. It's going to be fun. Before we start, make sure you guys like, subscribe, comment down below your thoughts and opinions of things I said or maybe the topics that we discuss. Positive vibe spread like we always do. Let's start off with the quote. If you aren't good at loving yourself, you will have a difficult time loving anyone. Since you'll resent the time and energy you give another person that you aren't even given to yourself. So here's how I took this quote and when I read it, how I perceived it to summarize it a little bit, make it a little bit easier of an understanding is love yourself before you love somebody else, because if you don't love yourself, then you won't be able to treat your other half with love and respect because you don't give it to your own self. So it's just basically, if you don't respect yourself, if you don't love yourself, if you don't treat yourself with kindness, if that being taking care of yourself or taking care of your mental health or just treating yourself with respect, self respect, understanding your boundaries and understanding that you have goals and aspirations in mind and morals. If you let just people cross by and stomp you over and all of that, you won't be able to give that same energy back to your significant other because you don't do it for yourself. So it just doesn't make sense. If you give yourself respect, you're going to give it back the same way to your significant other. That's why that saying is treat others like you would want to be treated. So it's, if you have self-respect, if you respect yourself and you have morals and boundaries, if that person has the same aspirations, morals, and boundaries, you'll respect it because you respect it for yourself. Not, you'll just cross over, treat that person like dog shit and not give a crap. That's the best way I can word it. That's what I thought of. But remember, you guys, love yourself first. You only live once, then love others after. Always love yourself first, no matter what. Let's get into the first topic here. This one has been obviously the talk of the day so far because of the NFL draft yesterday. It is Shedeur Sanders not going number one, you guys, or even, for in the first round, And I'm going to take it, I'm going to tell you guys both sides of the situation. I'll explain both sides, both perspectives, how I think, and we'll go from there. So, with the one side, I think Shedeur put himself in this position. I think about it. This was a player that was talked about going first. Then it was dropped to sixth, then ninth, then 21st, then 29th, to now not even being drafted. And I think this comes because of just the arrogance and the cockiness that he had. I think it was just in press conferences. He came off way too cocky, and I think scouts did not like that. I think a big one that killed him also was that he didn't go to the draft combine. He also didn't go to the Senior Bowl when, in the combine, you've had greats like Tom Brady, Mahomes, just to name a few, perform in those. He didn't even go. He decided not to go. So that goes back also to the cockiness, which I think probably rubbed people the wrong way. And it's just was too, I think the attitude, it's good to be confident, but don't be overly confident because you never know what can happen. And I think that's what killed him. He was just too overly confident, really didn't give a crap what anybody thought of him. He thought he was the best. And look at this, it's sorry to word it this way, but it's karma, because it's like, dog, you were in college. This is NFL. It's a whole different ball game. And for him not to even perform or, at least attend the Senior Bowl and, show his performances, it's just cocky. It's too cocky and just an a-hole move. And it's happened to greats. Think about it. It happened to Aaron Rodgers. It was his attitude and stuff people didn't like. And to this day, people don't like his attitude. He's been a great player, but to this day, he rubs people the wrong way. And with Shedeur, it's that same thing. Now, me personally, I don't think Dion had anything to do with it. I know people mention, oh, it's because he's Deion Sanders' son. Here's why. Because at the end of the day, Shedeur Sanders is the one going on the field. He's the one throwing the ball. It's not Dion. He's the one throwing the ball. And when you look at his stats, it's Shedeur Sanders stats. It's not Dion. So it's just, for people that say that, I think that's shenanigans. I get, maybe they think Dion's going to be interfering and all that. Listen, he's going to be focused on his college stuff and doing what he got to do. Obviously, he's going to want the best for his kid, but he's obviously going to be focused on other things. I don't think you should be worried about what Dion's going to say or what's his opinion. Nothing of that. Because, obviously, his son is going to step up. Now, on the flip side of things, I guess this would be on Shedeur's side to say is, I don't know what the hell teams were doing yesterday. I was so confused in teams like the Steelers, the Browns, the Giants, the Saints. The Steelers, I really don't know why they didn't draft him. I thought that he was going to go to the Steelers because they need a freaking QB. They don't have a QB right now until today. Before the draft, they had nobody going in. So I know DK Metcalf is probably like, and George were like, who the hell is throwing to me? They didn't have nobody. The Giants signed James Winston first, then they bring in Russell Wilson. They're gonna have a mess at QB because now they got 3 QBs. It's not making sense to me. I thought they were gonna draft them. The Browns, obviously, I think them trading their second pick, I thought they were gonna get them, but they decided to go after another player, obviously. And I thought they were, because you got Deshaun Watson, you got Kenny Pickett, and I forgot who was the third guy, but you got, scrubs to say. Who knows what the hell's going to happen with Deshaun Watson. The Giants, yeah, that's going to be a mess. Or the Saints. The Saints was one I didn't understand. You got basically Derek Carr with a shoulder issue. Right now, you're sitting in an icky situation with QB. Why didn't you go out and draft them? That was one that I really didn't understand. I also thought the Cowboys maybe, but it didn't happen. But listen, for Shedeur, just keep your head up. Look at one of the best right now that's playing, Lamar Jackson. When he was going to get drafted, there was a lot of BS, a lot of things said about him. It was a similar type situation, probably different ways, but it was a similar type situation. And look at him now today. He's probably top 5 and the best QBs right now in the game. So, look at that. Look at Tom Brady. He wasn't even drafted on the first round or the first day. And look at him. He ended up being the GOAT, right? Of QBs and whatever. So just listen, take it all in. Let this be a fire that sets you up. Whoever drafts you, just go out, perform, do what you got to do, and shut everyone's mouth up. It's simple as that. Because hey, everything happens for a reason, and I think it was just going back to the other side. He just was too cocky for people, and I think a lot of scouts didn't like that. I think he was he had too much. I don't want to say confidence. It was just too much. I think I'm too good to go and do this. I'm too good to do that. And scouts didn't like it. I think that's just what messed them up. Now, let's see what happens. We'll give him a chance, see what team drafts him. He's probably going to get drafted, though, for sure. We'll just have to see what happens. But I don't think Dion had to do anything with it. Me personally, I think that's shenanigans. But that is my thoughts on the Shedeur. Hopefully he gets drafted. You want everybody to do good. Hopefully he does well. Hopefully he gets drafted. All right. So on to a different sport here, basketball, you guys. So I saw the Mavericks GM respond to the talks about Luka and the fans and everything. We're going to put up the audio. Let's just hear him out.
Yeah, this trade around. When you were kicking the idea of this trade around, and you had various scenarios planned in your head, did the anger and outrage from the fan base, has that exceeded what you were kind of planning for?
Yeah, good question. I did know that Luka was important to the fan base. I didn't quite know it to what level, but really the way we looked at it is, if you're putting a team on the floor that's Kyrie, Clay, PJ, Anthony Davis, and Lively, we feel that's a championship caliber team, and we would have been winning at a high level, and that would have quieted some of the outrage. And so unfortunately we weren't able to do that. So it just continued to, go on and on.
When you were kicking,
So that was you guys, the Mavericks GM on, Luka and the fan situation. I don't know. I feel like this man, he's just, I think he has his head up his rear end. I think that's what it is, because the fact that he didn't think that fans had that much of a level of love for Luka is insane to me, man. It's like, what the hell are these freaking coaches and GMs watching? Are they not watching the fans and the arena and the league itself, like the games? What the fuck is, like, yes, of course he was loved to that level because he was the face of the team. He was the best player on the team. And I think what lights a fire in people's mind when they think about it, it's not that you just traded the face of the franchise. It's who you traded him for. You traded him for Anthony Davis, a guy that's made of a bottle of glass, who is so injury prone. It was like, I think that's what drove people crazy, because if you would have traded Luka for, just like an example trade, let's say a John Morant and a Jimmy Butler, which probably would have been insane, but I don't think, maybe like a John Morant and Rudy Gobert, maybe people would have been like, okay, that's what's up. Or maybe like a freaking Nikola Jokic or something, which Denver would never do. But maybe people would have been not as upset. But you traded him for Anthony Davis, a 32-year-old guy who's very injury prone, who never is able to stay on the court. That's why people are so upset. And it's like the fact that you come out and it's like you just put more fire in it when you say stupid shit like how you do. That's what I think is the problem, why people still get upset about it. It's because of that. Because if you would just stay quiet, been like, oh, damn, whatever, then people are like, okay, whatever. But he just puts more fire into it. And I think that's what gets people going crazy. The fact that, I don't know what these coaches are doing. It's in these GMs like that. Just to me, it didn't make sense. This dude's a beast and you trade him for somebody who's injury prone. It just didn't make sense to me. That's all. But we're going to switch on over to this topic. From this topic, it happened. Nothing sadly that we can do. All right, you guys, we're going to talk about Underdog, our sports pick. So let's take a look at first if we hit our other ones. Obviously, you guys know we take a look and see what the world happened. All right, so with our last pick, it looks like it was horrible. It was worse than the last time, you guys. And I know people are going to be like, come on, George, you're just messing this up. As you guys saw, we had Steven Adams higher than 5.5 rebounds, only got 3. Drew Holiday with lower 4.5 rebounds. He had 4, so we got that one. Donovan Mitchell higher than 21.5 points. He had 30 points. We got that one. Jalen Green, he was so close. We had him higher with 4.5 rebounds, had 4, so didn't get it. Steph Curry, surprisingly, we had higher 26.5 points, only got 20. So that was a interesting one. I thought maybe we could have hit that one. But hey, it happens. Now here's the ones for today. We have LeBron James higher than 18.5 points. I have him for sure getting that. Think about it. He's had more than 19 points in both games. They're tied in the series, so obviously they want to extend it. I think he'll get it for sure. It's just 19 points he needs. He for sure get that. My next pick is Anthony Edwards. I have him over 21.5 points. Basically, he needs 22. He's had more than 22 points in both games. He will definitely get it. Also, series tied for him on his side. Obviously, they're going to want to win. So I think he'll definitely get it. Luka Doncic. I think he will definitely have over 26 points. He's had over 30 points in both games. I think he will get 26 points easily. I think that'll be a walk in the park. It won't be hard at all. I think he'll have it. My next person, Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think he'll have over 29 points. He's had over 30 every game. And the Bucks are down 2-0, you guys, against the Pacers. They need a win. I think he'll go off and he'll perform. I think out of all of these, that one will definitely hit. They're down. He's gotten more than 30. He'll definitely have that. And then Tyrese Haliburton, I have him over 9.5 assists. He's had 12 in both games. And the Pacers are up in the series. Obviously, they're looking to win and continue on and, in the bracket. He'll definitely get more than 10 assists. That one is another hit. Those are my underdog sports picks. Obviously, bet responsibly. Bet responsibly. Don't go like a psycho. Let's continue. All right, so let's go to The Rock, you guys, and Dave Legreca, a wrestler or a reporter in the WWE businesses. And it's just, man, The Rock is just, it's disappointing even more. It's just frustrating probably people even more. So let's get into the situations. We're going to play the both audios and then I'll give you guys my thoughts. So here is Mr. Dave Legreca giving his rant on night 2's ending at WrestleMania.
Now that everybody's bitching and moaning about the end of WrestleMania 41, The Rock is going to go on Pat McAfee, who has the biggest show in sports talk radio. You're going to go on his show and say, yeah, I would have done it differently. Yeah, I would have adjusted some things. I would have. Nice to hear from you now, pal. It's over. So now that everybody's bitching and complaining, yeah, I would have done it differently. But really, you talk about a Monday morning quarterback. That's a Tuesday morning quarterback. Thanks, pal. Didn't make yourself available. Didn't show up at WrestleMania. But now I'm going to say, yeah, I would have done things differently. You talk about completely throwing Triple H under the bus. That's exactly what The Rock did. You know what you say if you're The Rock? You know what? I thought they did an awesome job. Or you know what? Don't say anything at all. But by saying that, you just threw Triple H under the bus. If you're not going to be there and you didn't take part of it, then you shouldn't say anything about it. Now, if he was part of the creative process and he was there, then he could say, I think we, because he's part of the fucking company. No, but he doesn't mind saying I would have done things differently. I would have adjusted things. He loves saying we when it's successful. But when it's not, he's going to be like, I would have. I.
So there's Dave, you guys, very upset of what The Rock's comments were on Pat McAfee's show, basically talking about he didn't like the ending. And Dave was like, then why the heck were you not there? You're the one that made yourself unavailable, etc. So here's The Rock's comment on Dave's post or his rant to say of night 2 and the situation of The Rock's comments. He said, "Hi, Dave. The business is a complete work. Always has been. Always will be. Every aspect of it. Every match, every interview," he wrote. "Please join me, Cody, Cena, Brian, and the rest of us for our creative discussions so you can expand your perspective. Until then, stop ranting. It's not healthy, my friend. Enjoy the show. P.S. Tell Bubba Ray Dudley I have a grand marinara and hush puppies for all of us." So that's The Rock's comments to Dave. Here's Dave's response.
I love professional wrestling. I love professional wrestling because it's unlike any form of entertainment or sport. I'm passionate about it because I dive into it and it's not about, oh, it's real to me, damn it. But man, it is. It is. You guys put your bodies on every time you step into a wrestling ring. You're putting your health and your body on the line. It's no more real than that. That's as real as it could possibly be. So when you say it's a work, I don't need to be reminded. I know that. I'm trying to fight that off from everybody outside of our circle. I don't need somebody inside the circle who sits at the highest mountain in this business, which is the WWE, to tell me it's not real. I already know that. I know that it's not real. But let me buy into the magic that is professional wrestling. So when you say it's a work and that it's fake, then what are we doing here? Then what are we doing? The reason I rant and rave like I do is because I'm passionate about it. I didn't like what I saw at the end of WrestleMania 41. Just like if my Cowboys lose or my Yankees lose, I'm going to rant and rave about that. Doesn't mean I hate it. It's because I love it that I get so passionate and I yell and scream about it. Don't tell me it's a work. I don't need you to tell me. That's supposed to be from Dick or Jane down the street that doesn't like professional wrestling. They're the ones that tell me it's a work and that it's fake, not somebody within the business. Believe in the magic. It's the magic that makes people buy a ticket to go see WrestleMania or sit on their ass for 3 hours to watch a Monday Night Raw or SmackDown because it's real to them. They don't need to be reminded that it's fake. So all due respect, Rock, all due respect, Mr. Dwayne Johnson, I appreciate what you done for me and for this business, but what you put in that response, I felt was wrong, and it hurt me. It actually, I'm not angry about it. I'm actually hurt and disappointed with the response.
All right, you guys. So, I get Dave 100%. Why is he upset? Dave's basically been saying what everybody has been saying. The Rock wasn't there. He should have been there. He was the one that made a mess. Should have cleaned it up. I'm very disappointed with The Rock's comment on Dave's post. Here's why. Because you broke kayfabe, basically. You're basically putting more fire onto those fans who say, or those people who say, because they're not fans, oh, WWE is fake. You're basically proving their point way much more. Because it's like, yeah, okay, but you just broke kayfabe. If you guys don't know what kayfabe is, it's basically where you just try to hide your character or your, like, for example, The Undertaker. The Undertaker really didn't break kayfabe that much, where it's basically a wrestler goes out of character and acts a different way than what they normally do. That's kayfabe, whatever. And, Rock basically broke that, basically saying, oh, it's just a work, it's a complete work, etc., and all of that. And obviously, like I said, it's putting more fire onto those people that say, oh, wrestling is fake. Now, to the other side, yes, 100% what Dave is saying is true, because it's like, bro, you started that mess of Cody's soul nonsense. And now you get brought into it. And, because of Emmanuel, you get in, you basically hit Cody with a belt. Cena hits Cody with a belt. Travis slaps him. Of course, people are going to expect you at WrestleMania because, people were already like, where were you at after Elimination Chamber and those Raw, SmackDown going up to WrestleMania? But people really thought you were going to be there because you inserted yourself in this. You are in a picture with Cena and Travis. And they thought maybe this was going to be a faction or this was going to go far. And what this has turned out to be is just a whole scratch of a mess. And I don't want to repeat myself too much, but it goes back to it. You should have been there, bro. You were the one that slapped Cody, hit him with a belt, told him you want his soul, whatever. And you had Cena turn heel. You were the one that did this. So you should have been there at the end of the day. It should have been you, not Travis Scott, coming out, hitting Cody. Or it should have been the three of you guys coming out, hitting him with a belt, a chair, whatever you wanted to do, and having Cena win the match. It would have been way much more. It would have made way much more sense story-wise. But when you don't come out, Travis comes out, and it's not that believable. It's like, what the hell? It's that type of thing that it gives up back. With Rock, it's just, he's playing a great heel. Let's say that. He's playing a great heel because this is just heel heat. And this is just stuff that is going to get him booed out of the building when he goes into an arena. That's WWE. Because this is just good heel work. Basically saying it's all a work and all that. That's the thing. But hey, I don't think he should have also said that he should join, Dave should join Cody's, Brian and all that. Hey, this is a fan who is just, like he said, passionate about the game and he wants, the best out of it. So fans like that is what you want because it shows that they're loyal and they're dedicated to what you're putting out every week. So if this is how you're responding back, that's the problem. But I get Dave 100%. I think The Rock is just, I don't know. He's on a different planet right now. I think his mind's in Mars, trying to colonize it with Elon Musk. Who knows? But let's continue on to our last subject, you guys. It just happened not that long ago. Probably just like I think 20 minutes ago, maybe something like that. Brett Baty has been sent down to AAA for Jack McNeil, who's back from the IL. This comes after he hit a bomb off of Zach Wheeler on Wednesday, and it looked like he was looking solid to stay on the team, but they sent him down. They said, no, go to Syracuse. Here's my thoughts, you guys. Yeah, I wasn't surprised. I don't think he's not hitting well. I think soon, I personally feel like Brett Baty is soon going to be traded. He's been called up 3 times. All 3 times he gets called up, he doesn't produce. The highest batting average he's had is 214 for his career in the major leagues. I soon think he's going to be traded. I think he'll be included in a package deal for possibly someone like a Sandy Alcantara or maybe a Luis Robert Jr. from the White Sox. But I think they're going to get rid of him. You know, they've called him up 3 times. He's had plenty of chances. Now this one being the 4th. Hasn't done anything. You know, think about it. Right now, he had a 204 batting average with 4 RBIs, on base percentage of 246, slugging 357, and an OPS of 597. Those numbers aren't really that good, you know, and it's just they really don't need him. I think they'll get him. They get rid of him. You know, I think they want Mark Vientos as a lock third baseman. Think about it. Lindor's locked at short. Pete at first, which I don't even think he plays first. And then you got McNeil, Luis, and hell, Ronnie Mauricio when he comes back, who, you know, will be fighting for second. You know, Mauricio maybe third. So there's not really that much space for him. I think he'll probably just end up trading in one of those packages. Now with Jeff McNeil, listen, let's see how he performs. Let's see what he does, you know. But I think this is another player that if he doesn't produce, he's going to be traded. He hasn't produced since 2022. Very injury prone. I think with this contract he's been given also, it's a good one to let go, get him off the books. And I think it's just time. He's like a Luis Arias type player, you know, not too much power, just has, you know, can hit the ball. But if you can't stay on the field, then what matters? You know, you don't hit bombs, you know, you just hit. So it's like, if you can't stay on the field, you got to go. And it's just, he hasn't played really since 2022, injured every season. I think let him go. Include him in those trade packages. I used to say it before in the offseason. McNeil needs to be traded. I think if he doesn't perform now to the All-Star break, include him in a trade package deal, get him out of here. Let's take that contract off the books because that money could be used for something else. That's what I think. Now, let's see. I wonder who else will be dropped down once they bring up Francisco. That's going to be an interesting one. Probably one of the catchers who have been doing pretty well. We'll see. I hope, listen, with McNeil, I hope he does well. Obviously, you know, we paid him because, you know, of his performances, but we need him to perform. We need him to do better. We need him to have a good, you know, season and stay on the field for, you know, when we get to the playoffs and all that. And also, one thing before I end it, ESPN, what the hell are we doing? Why are the Mets number 3 in the power rankings with, I think, the Padres maybe and the Dodgers ahead of them? Are we drunk? We have the best record in the MLB, and the Dodgers are number 1. They're 16-7, while we're like 18-7, I think it is, or something like that. We have a better record, and you have the Dodgers first. Like, what? That doesn't make sense. But, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap it up here. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, this show. Thank you guys all for watching. Like I say every time, stay humble, stay positive, and believe in yourself. Have a good day.